Okay, Student Senate, if you'll go ahead and start finding your seats, please. I now call this meeting of the Kansas State University Student Governing Association Student Senate to order. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, we'll now move into first roll call with me.
Okay, so we'll be doing roll call. New senators, you are on the list. And then also tonight, we will be doing directors as well. They've been officially added. Almadani. Beasley.
Here.
Belina.
Here.
Betancourt.
Here.
Booz.
Here.
Brents.
Here.
Burke.
Here.
Carlson.
Here.
Carr.
Here.
Clark.
Yep.
Coggeshall.
Here.
Colasico. Cruz. Dowd.
Here.
Gallardo.
Here.
Gilliland King.
Here.
Gillespie.
Here.
Glasscock. Hamlin.
Here.
Hines.
Here.
Huffman.
Here.
Javin.
Here.
Kelly. Kerperin.
Here.
Kidd.
Here.
King.
Here.
Koger.
Here.
Cruiswile.
Here.
Coleman.
Here.
Lux.
Here.
Meinhardt.
Here.
Oxner.
Here.
Orzakowski.
Here.
Pelton.
Here.
Payton. Phillips.
Here.
Pruse.
Here.
Rivera.
Here.
Rodriguez.
Here.
Reichert.
Here.
Slichter.
Here.
Smith. Snyder Ben.
Here.
Snyder Blaine.
Here.
Spellman.
Here.
Wallace.
Here.
Ward.
Here.
Watkins.
Here.
Whitmer.
Here.
Yokely. And Zimmerman.
Here.
And then for directors, we have Belk, Bruner, Chiefchi, Cohen, Kroslow,
Here.
Dunfield, Gammon, Gertzen, Heisey, Hopfinger, Hornung, Horton, Karmali, Kulkarni,
Here.
Land,
Here.
Lundin,
Here.
Nunez, Penny,
Here.
Polson,
Here.
Steiner, Wilbrandt, and then Riffle
Here.
and Chumland. With that, we have 44 senators present, 6 excused, and 5 absent.
Okay, with that, we'll now move into first open period. Our first open period speaker tonight is Dr. Peter Dorhout, Vice President of Research.
I was reminded that I needed to use this because we have some folks that are potentially online. And so with that, thank you for the invitation to be here and share a little bit about, yes, ma'am.
I'm not sure if your microphone's on.
The little light was on. It's calculating. Oh, there we go. Is it on now?
We will get you another one real quick.
Well, you just standing behind the podium wouldn't work. This won't count against my 10 minutes, right? Do we know if anybody's actually online?
Hello.
Oh, we found one that worked. I was going to take yours. How's that? Sounds like it's on. Maybe you can turn it down a tad. I tend to be loud. Comes from having taught general chemistry. I'll try this again. Thank you for the opportunity to come and share a little bit about research here at Kansas State University. My name is Peter Dorhout. I am the Vice President for Research and a Professor of Chemistry. I wanted to just, for those of you who aren't quite sure about our land-grant heritage and what we've been up to, now you just get to see all of the slides in advance. What we've been up to at Kansas State University since 1863 has been making a difference in people's lives. That's what's important about our land-grant heritage. Just as to get the understanding about who we have in the room, how many of you currently are or have been in the past involved in undergraduate research? Great. That's a pretty good number. The president and I were talking a little bit about how many of our students were actually involved in undergraduate research. And so it's an opportunity, as you well know, who are involved, to learn a little bit more about your own disciplines. And I'm going to share with you just briefly a little bit about the research that's going on here at Kansas State University. But what do we mean by research? It's really an opportunity to explore in a much deeper way the discipline that you happen to be studying. Now that can be and take a lot of forms. It can be quantitative, it can be qualitative. You could be asking important political questions, you could be asking important behavioral questions, you could be discovering new things. You could be examining new molecules, as in the case of a chemist, for reactivity in working as a pharmaceutical, for example. Most of our faculty members are involved in this creative discovery process as part of their tenure and promotion process. So let me share with you a few things that are happening on campus, and if you're interested in getting involved in these or others, I'm happy to point you in the right direction. But let's say you're interested in understanding how to take wheat that we're growing right now and create a much more nutritious and potentially delicious form of wheat. We have a Wheat Genomics Center right here on campus that enables you to discover how you can have an impact on new wheat varieties. We also have an emphasis on infectious disease here at K-State. Animal infectious diseases, so think African swine fever and the outbreak that we currently have going on in Asia. We are studying that right here at Kansas State University. And you could be involved in making a difference in discovering the treatments or the vaccines for a number of infectious diseases that impact our ability to grow food and our ability to, or our ability to protect ourselves. We also have one of the world's only and largest laboratories for studying prairies and understanding how the ecology of prairies are impacted by the tradition of burning the prairies, how the ecological system can be, in fact, improved through these processes, and how we can protect the environment while at the same time ensuring the continuation of these delicate ecological environments that we have on our prairies. You could also study with a renowned jazz artist, and you could be involved in the creative process of not just learning about jazz, but participating in it and engaging in the history of jazz right here on our campus. You could be involved in unmanned aerial vehicles and an understanding of how those systems can impact our delivery of packages or precision agriculture related to the use of unmanned aerial vehicles. Or you could become a nuclear physicist. So who pays for all of this? Research at Kansas State University is paid for mainly by federal grants. And the federal grant process is a very competitive grant process. But we also have private foundations. We have private giving that supports research on campus. And Kansas State University right now, this past year, was involved in over $200 million of research on this campus in support of students, in support of new discoveries, in support of our faculty and our staff. And those resources came from outside Kansas State University in order to support that. Now that puts us in the top 70 public research universities. What about my office? I'm the Vice President for Research. Under my organization, we have 109 staff who are involved in helping people develop grant proposals, identify resources for those proposals. They are involved in helping folks submit those proposals, write those proposals, and ultimately manage the resources when they come in the door. We also support a number of core facilities on the campus that enable all of our researchers to have access to the state-of-the-art equipment, and that includes students, access to state-of-the-art equipment, and enables them to be at the forefront of new knowledge creation. Why does it matter? Well, we've already talked a little bit about the fact that it's part of our heritage, it's part of our history at Kansas State University as a land-grant university to create new knowledge and to bring that out to the citizens in our communities. But most importantly, I would say that one of the other aspects of why it matters is because it enables students to learn about their interests at the very deepest levels. This was a very timely report that came out in U.S. News and World Report just a few days ago that talks about the value of undergraduate research in the university experience. I hope you have an opportunity to read through it. It really talks about how, one, you can get involved and gives you tips on how to connect with faculty. First of all, if you just ask the faculty member about their research, they're going to be more than willing to stop whatever they're doing and share that with you. Because let's face it, we faculty are pretty vain about our stuff. And so if you asked us a question about it, we'd spend hours talking about it. So if you want to connect and learn about what's happening on campus, talk to a faculty member. There are other opportunities to learn about what's happening. Upcoming in October, we have several events. The week-long Science Communication Week has a number of workshops talking about the kinds of research that are going on here. And we have a Research Connections event at the end of the month, where we bring all of the faculty, graduate students, other staff who are involved in the research enterprise together, and showcase all of the research that's happening here at K-State. So it's an opportunity for you to explore, to learn about what's happening in your disciplines or other disciplines where you might have an interest. And if you want to dig more deeply, more information can be found on our research website. You can follow us on our Twitter account. You can read our flagship our flagship publication called Seek, which will be coming out in a few weeks with the fall edition. And if you have any other questions, you may email me directly at dorhout@ksu.edu. And with that, I'll turn to you all, and as long as you would like to have us be involved in Q&A, I'm happy to do that.
Thank you. Are there any questions for our speaker? Senator Beasley.
How many of
I'll let you
the,
direct.
well,
Sir,
first, thank you for coming this evening to speak to us.
thank you for having me.
But also, how many of the 8 colleges, undergraduate colleges, are involved or have research going on through K-State's undergraduate program?
Every one of them.
Every single one?
Yes. So I can point you to researchers in the College of Education, the College of Business, and APD, Arts and Sciences, where I used to be the dean. So we have research going on in every one of our colleges.
Any further questions for our speaker? All right, seeing none, thank you so much for coming. Okay, our next open period speaker tonight is Jody Koss, Director of PowerCat Financial.
I think I'll hold it. Hi, thank you for having me tonight. I just really wanted to come and tell you how special you are to PowerCat Financial. I don't know if you realize what a close relationship PowerCat has had with student governing associations since our beginning. So I wanted to come and let you know. We're celebrating a really big event. This coming Monday is our 10-year anniversary celebration. And, you know, to me, that's not a real long time, but I realize to all of you, you are probably around 10, 11 years old when this program was just, you know, in a vision in the leadership of student government as far as them starting to think about what it would be like if students had a place to go get help with any money-related question they had. So it basically began in around 2006, 2007 with a little bit of a survey of campus knowledge about money and finding that students still had a lot to learn. You're here to transition to become financially independent, and there's a lot of decisions that are being made along the way to get to get there. So Matt was part of the student body president at that point who started that process, and his vice president, Lydia Peel, continued that process. She became president the following year in 2009, and she saw to fruition the beginning of a center called PowerCat Financial Counseling, where students could get help. And student government was kind enough to give an extra office space that they had nearby to basically let me begin working to create that vision for students. And it was just a wonderful partnership. And over the years, anytime there was a need or an effort to help grow it, student government was right there alongside of PowerCat Financial, making sure that it was successful. So along the way, Reagan Case was part of the efforts. Also, Nate Spriggs was a big advocate. So when the union was renovated and a dedicated space could be carved out for the program, Nate was very vocal about the need of having that center. So students felt like there was a comfortable professional environment for them to go talk about these financial questions. And we see the gamut of topics. I'm passing around a report card. This is a report card we're going to be sharing at our event on Monday, and just talking a little bit about the impacts that we've had throughout our 10-year initial beginning of the program. You can see a lot of the times we're talking to students about just how to pay for school, with the decisions that go into that. It's a piece of puzzle. Every piece is different for a student, whether it's funded through work, scholarships, financial aid, savings, family support, no family support. It's different for every student, and that's where we're there to help them. So I really encourage you to come out Monday. It's going to be downstairs in the courtyard of the Union. It starts at noon. We're going to have Lydia Peel back. So she's traveling back to the university. She's going to be one of our keynote speakers at the event to talk about how she started this awesome center through student government work. We'll have a few other speakers, some of our peer financial counselors. These are students just like you that are actually doing the work. So it's not a professional working with a student, it's a student working with a student. And nationally, we're actually recognized as being a leader in that work, because it's not very often that you see students trained to then help other students work through these financial questions that they want to figure out. So it's really awesome. We're gonna have cake. We're gonna have fun. We want you to just support the program by showing up, and also take advantage of it yourself. So perhaps you have student loans, or you're thinking about going to graduate school or professional school where you may need to borrow at that point, or you want to think about getting a credit card for the first time. Or maybe you're moving off campus and you want to look at that, or studying abroad and you want to create a financial plan for that process. Or maybe you're transitioning into work and looking at job offers, and you've never had a 401k plan before. You've never had to make decisions about insurance before. These are the kinds of things that students are helping other students figure out, so that's really awesome. I also just wanted to let you know that we are interested in being the next all-in opportunity, so I'm really excited to start looking at that application and talking to others about how important this work is. You know, we can give students the resources or the tools to build the home, but if we don't teach them how to build a home, I'm not sure that we're completely there yet. So we're part of that equation. We really want to help support students in success and transitioning into their financial independence. So please come out on Monday. Thank you.
Okay, are there any questions for our speaker? All right, seeing none, thank you so much. All right, and with that, we'll move into approval of the minutes. Is there a motion to approve the minutes? Chair Watkins.
Move we approve the minutes. Second.
Been moved and seconded to approve the minutes. If there aren't any objections? Seeing none, the minutes are approved. Moving into announcements for this week, there's really just one. So phase 1 of class 1 of the intern program will be ending in a little over 2 weeks, which means that you now all have the opportunity to apply to mentor an intern. If you're interested in mentoring a member of the intern class, please apply at the link provided in the agenda and reach out to Lily or Julia with any questions. Proxies for this week are Betancourt for Bond, Carlson for Matos, Cogshell for Clements, Hamlin for Al Abdullah, Rivera for Kidd, Smith for Bowers, and Ward for Boykin. SGA members of the week are Senator Camila Rivera and Director Vedant Kulkarni for their well-spoken and insightful opinion pieces in the K-State Collegian this week. The quote of the week is, "Success is not final, failure is not fatal. It is the courage to continue that counts." Winston Churchill. Okay, we'll now move into approval of appointments. Is there a motion to consider Resolution 27? Senator Beasley.
I move we consider resolution 27. Second.
It's been moved and seconded to consider Resolution 27. Will the author come forward?
All right, Resolution 19, 2027 by Senate Operations Committee and Ali Karamali. Approval of Educational Opportunity Fund Student Senator. Whereas the Educational Opportunity Fund Committee allocates $360,000 in funding for academic scholarships and fellowships, need-based grants, community service programs, and campus student service programs. Whereas the SGA Treasurer appoints this position based on interest in who they believe will be beneficial to the committee. Whereas Simar, the SGA Treasurer, nominated Ben Snyder for this position, and whereas the Kansas State University Student Governing Association Bylaws, Article 4, Section 9I4, states the Senate Operations Committee shall introduce all resolutions of approval of appointments of the Student Body President, Speaker of the Student Senate, and Attorney General. Be it resolved that Section 1, the following individual be approved as the Student Senator member of the Educational Opportunity Fund Committee, Ben Snyder.
Right, are there any questions or corrections for the author? Seeing none, is there a motion to approve Resolution 27? Senator Beasley.
I move we approve resolution 27. Unanimously.
Second. Okay. It's been moved and seconded to approve Resolution 27 unanimously. Are there any objections? Seeing none, Resolution 27 is approved. All right. Okay, I'll now be seeking a motion to consider Resolution 28. Senator Oxner.
I move we consider resolution 28. Second.
It's been moved and seconded to consider Resolution 28. Will the author come forward?
Yep. Resolution 19, 2028, approval of new student senators by Senate Operations Committee. Whereas there are currently 4 vacancies for the position of student senator for the graduate school, whereas Senate Operations Committee has exhausted the candidates from the 2019 SGA general election in the process of filling vacancies, whereas after exhausting the candidates from the 2019 SGA general election, the relevant college council has the opportunity to fill the vacant positions, whereas if the college council does not appoint people to fill the vacancies within 2 weeks after they are contacted, the relevant college caucus has the opportunity to fill the vacant positions. And whereas the Graduate School Council and the Graduate School College Caucus have appointed Megan Brentz, Mary Kurzweil, Brandon Yoakley, and Mackenzie Zimmerman. Be it resolved that Section 1, the following individuals be approved as student senators for the graduate school: Megan Brentz, Mary Kurzweil, Brandon Yoakley, and Mackenzie Zimmerman.
Are there any questions or corrections for the author? Seeing none, is there a motion to approve Resolution 28? Caucus Leader Glasgow.
I move to pass resolution 28 unanimously. Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve Resolution 28 unanimously. Are there any objections? Seeing none, Resolution 28 is approved. Will those of you listed on this legislation please come to the front of the room? Okay, you guys just. So if you'll raise your right hand and at the end you'll just say, "I will." So I do solemnly swear or affirm that I will faithfully execute the office of student senator and will to the best of my ability preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of the Kansas State University Student Governing Association. Okay, and then if you want to pass this, you'll just say your name, hometown, major, favorite class.
That's okay, cool. Good evening, everyone. I'm excited to be here. My name is Megan Brincy. I'm a graduate student in the Department of Agricultural Economics. I'm originally from Miles City, Montana, and my favorite smell is the smell of fresh cut hay.
My name's Mary Kurzweil. I'm a master's student in agricultural economics as well. My hometown is Archie, Missouri, and my favorite smell is fresh cut grass.
Hi, my name is Mackenzie Zimmerman. I'm a first year's master's student in applied family science. My hometown is Junction City, Kansas, so I'm a native of Kansas. And my favorite smell is almond extract.
All right, with that, we'll now move into committee chair reports. Are there any committees, chairs that would like to give a report? Chair Booz.
All right. Hi, everyone. If you don't know me, I'm Andrew Booz. I'm the Senate Operations Standing Committee Chair. I was just up here to read some legislation to fill some vacancies. And our committee does, vacancy filling, editing legislation, and a whole bunch of other things, including elections. And that's what I'm up here discussing elections. And that's what I'm up here to update you on. I think we had a good discussion last Monday when we were discussing social media regulations and definitions. We didn't come to a consensus on everything, but we came to a consensus on quite a few things. And so I think that that's a good step forward. Because we didn't come to a consensus on everything, though, we're going to end up increasing the amount of time we're discussing social media. So next Monday, we will also be discussing social media and trying to come to full consensus on that, as well as the bill that we've drafted on the definition of a campaign and social media so far. So that'll be our discussion for next Monday. If anyone has any questions, feel free to ask.
Any questions for Chair Booz? All right, seeing none, are there any other committee chairs that would like to give a report? Seeing none, are there any directors that would like to give a report? Speaker Pro Tem Bothwell.
Hello, everyone. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Nathan Bothwell. I'm the Speaker Pro Tempore, so I kind of assist with everything in the legislative branch. I have two quick updates tonight. If you ordered a name tag, the name tag orders came in within 24 hours of me putting them in. So thanks to Union Engraving Services for being so on top of everything. That's really great. So I have them all up here with me at the front of the room. So just come down at the end of Senate tonight to grab your name tag. I'll be happy to pass those out to you. The other update is in regards to IDI from last week. So for those of you who weren't there, last week, Dr. Bolton, who's the Director of Intercultural Learning and Success, she came to Student Senate to discuss the IDI, or the Intercultural Development Instrument. This is like an online assessment that kind of tells you on like a continuum where you fall between like monocultural and intercultural. This is like a really exciting partnership we're like really excited about. But I had some people tell me that they did not receive access codes to that, and we also have some new senators this week as well who weren't here last week. If you would be interested in participating, we'd be glad to have you take that assessment. We're actually going to be creating a group profile over like all of SGA, so we really want as many people to take it as possible. If you did not receive an access code yet at this point in time, please just email me letting me know that you would like to receive an access code. So my email is ndbothwell@ksu.edu. So please just shoot me an email really quick so that way I can know to add you to my list. I'm going to be getting those extra access codes tomorrow. So with that, I'll stand down for any questions.
Any questions for Speaker Pro Tem Bothwell? All right, seeing none, further directors that would like to give a report? President Penny.
I just have a few quick things tonight. Something that you guys all should have gotten an email about earlier last week was talking about our strategic plan, a long-term strategic plan for SGA, something that we're really excited to get rolling. We talked about it on Tuesday in Senate Exec, And then we're going to keep that conversation going next Tuesday, but we'll have a full rundown next Senate next week to, first of all, break off into groups, talk more about that, but then also get it all rolling, make sure that we're all on the same page and make tangible steps moving forward. So we're really excited about it. Also, a few updates that are coming up. Tomorrow is a Lannan lecture with Alan Murray. He's the CEO of Fortune Magazine. So that's at 10:30 in McCain. So, and that is free to go. As a student, I highly encourage that you attend. And also tomorrow is the State of the University by President Myers. And so that will be happening at the Alumni Center at 3:30, where he really talks more on where we're at with that K-State 2025 plan and where we're at as a university. With that, Hannah and I co-chair the Tuition and Fees Strategies Committee. We have met for the past 2 weeks and done a lot of that training and getting everyone on board and learning about what we are, what we do. Next Tuesday, starting at 5:15, we'll be reviewing our first fee, and that's with the Health and Human Sciences fee. So they have one overall college fee at $20 and then 3 other smaller ones based on the department that you're in. So we will having Dean Buckwalter come and present that and pretty much justify that the reason the fee was created in the first place is still being followed, and that spirit of the fee continues until today. And then we will kind of justify all of our reactions to that and what our recommendation would be moving forward. And when we're talking about e-scooters, I've been talking about a lot. You might have seen on social media too. So at the city of Manhattan has finally passed an ordinance, which pretty much it says that a micro-mobility device company, that's a very fancy name for like Bird and Lime, but they cannot come into town without signing into a contract with the city of Manhattan. So what that does is allows the city and us a little bit of protection on if they are going to come in, they're going to come in under the ordinances that we set. And with that being said, the city and K-State has launched their separate groups that are working closely together. And what the city is looking for different rules, regulations, and enforcement for e-scooters, as well as what we expect here at K-State. We sent out a survey on that, got a lot of great data. We've been sharing that with the city commissioners. We've been sharing that with the president, provost, and all of those stakeholders. And we're really excited to come to a compromise when we're looking at bringing them on, including safety, pedestrians, everything is on the table. And so we are starting that conversation as well. Lastly, there is going to be a remodel and revision of K-State 2025. So that's the grand scheme of Kansas State University. So what President Myers is going to talk about tomorrow at the State of the University is kind of where we're at on that based on K-State. And then once him and the provost go off to all the different departments, they are going to be gathering feedback on what we can do to adjust that trajectory based on where we're at now and where we want to go. And so with that, we are looking at a new vision, a new mission and vision for Kansas State University, something that is going to launch later on next month in October, and it's going to involve a lot of student surveys, and provost or the president is also going to come and request feedback from us there. The other step of that is also gathering working groups to look at the core competencies of what should be included in K-State 2025. And so that includes a lot of different things from technology to research and really how we can tune up all those. And so working groups are also going to be launched from the provost's office later on this semester so that we can get a lot of student input in that, as well as faculty, staff, and the surrounding K-State community as well. And all that should be finalized. All of the preliminary processes should be finalized by the end of the semester, and by the end of the year, we should have a fully revised mission, vision, and also all those core competencies under 2025 to help govern what Kansas State University is going to look like here in the next 5 years. That is all I have. With that, I'll stand for questions.
Are there any questions for President Penny? Intern Coordinator Colburn.
Has TFSC, is there a plan for TFSC to start talking about departmental fees and how the provost is going to handle that?
Yeah, perfect. So the question was departmental student fees and what that looks like as far as Tuition and Fee Strategies Committee. So Provost Tabor has told all the deans that he will not let any departmental student fees go on to TFSC. So what that means, if that's kind of foggy, is a lot of our colleges have college-wide fees, so any course under that college type, you get a fee tacked on to your tuition for that. So what the departmental ones do is it's based on the department in that school. So for instance, Health and Human Sciences, if you're taking a kinesiology class, I believe it's an extra $15, but it's only for kinesiology, and they have different ones in those areas too. And so that really comes to question as far as when we're looking at differential tuition, which is a different tuition level based on what your major is and what classes you are taking. And so in order to kind of stop that, to kind of stop some of those different fees that are going on in different departments, Provost Tabor has said he will not take any of those. It will only be college-wide fees. And then we are continuing the conversation on differential tuition, and that is a possibility of something that could be ready to fully present to the Kansas Board of Regents in May.
Any further questions? Chair Booth?
Does that mean that the provost won't let any departments like increase or decrease fees at this time?
Anything that goes through tuition and fee strategies, I mean, I don't think anyone's going to be asking for a decrease, but as far as he will not allow any increases coming through the cycle to TFSC, and the deans are well aware of that in the Dean's Council.
Hi. Okay, my name is Kara Bruce. So I just have a quick question. So can you elaborate a little bit more on like what this vision consists of? I'm just a little curious about like, is it regards to like new technology? Is it like new buildings?
Would somebody like to, I'm so sorry to cut you off.
Where am I speaking rights to Kara Bruce?
Okay.
Thank you.
Sorry. Okay, I'm so sorry. So like I said before, I want you to elaborate a little more about what the vision like consists of. Does this consist of like new technology, new infrastructure, or is this like in regards to new multicultural like student enrollment? Like what are we seeing with this new vision?
And just to clarify, the vision of Kansas State as a whole and not just SGA.
Yeah, 2025. So I was just curious as to what President Mars was going for in this new vision.
Yeah, and so some of the information relayed to us from the provost, one of the big challenges that he wants to tackle is being the nation's first cyber land-grant university. Something that I think I'm still trying to figure out what that means and how that applies. But under there will definitely be some of those larger umbrellas regarding all the things you're talking about. Since it's a little bit larger vision of K-State, I don't know how much in detail it's going to get on a lot of those, but I will definitely come back with some updates once some of those like working groups get together too. And those are also working groups that we're going to need student representatives on. And so once those opportunities come to us, we're going to relay that opportunity to all of you as well.
Can I have a follow-up?
Granted.
Okay, follow-up. So is there a committee created for this K-State 2025 vision, or is this something that President Mars is taking on himself and just going with?
Yeah, so this is a joint mission between the president and provost, and so he has not laid out exactly, he's not laid out a timeline on exactly what that looks like. It was mostly in conversation between a meeting with Hannah and myself as well, but he called them different working groups that would meet about 4 different times, about 2 hours apiece. And so it's not a large time commitment for a student sitting on that or for a faculty or staff member being on that as well. And they will kind of gather feedback and work out for that smaller umbrella under the entire 2025 vision, what that looks like, and that information will be relayed to the president and provost, and they will continue to take that and like create it into like a solidified plan. And before any of that is finalized, they will come back out and ask for feedback on that as well.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Are there any further questions for President Penny? All right, seeing none. No college caucus time today or minor allocations to be approved, so we'll move into final action with Bill 5. Will the author come forward? Have any changes been made?
Yes, there's quite a few. So I'll go ahead and read it in its entirety. Well, the changes are
We made quite a few changes in the whereas clauses. We changed line 11 to read, whereas the 2017 Rural Education at a Glance report published by the United States Department of Agriculture states that the rural counties with low levels of educational attainment have worse economic outcomes. Line 15 was changed to, whereas the same report also states that only 19% of adults in rural areas have attained at least a bachelor's degree. And then we changed one of these sections, which kind of outlines some goals. Section 5, whereas the Special Committee on Rural Student Success will resolve the completion of 2019-2020 term. Whereas, and this is in section 7 rather, the committee shall submit its final report with recommendation of the Speaker to the Student Senate by March 19th, 2020 for the benefit of the Student Senate. And section 8, the legislation shall take effect upon passage from the Student Senate's signature body, student body president. So,
Chair Booth.
I also want to mention that section 6, what was that?
That's the one I was missing. Yes, section 6 has also been changed to read, the committee will clearly outline goals to define a rural student and explore the options in retainment and persistence.
And then there's also line 9 as well.
Oh, yes, line 9 was changed to whereas students from rural regions come from all backgrounds. So there's a lot of changes.
Okay, any further questions for our speaker? Okay, first right to debate.
Well, good evening, everyone. Today I come before you to ask for your support for the passage of this bill to create a special committee for rural student success. Today, we as a body have an opportunity to begin a conversation about how our university will define a student from rural areas and continue to retain them here at Kansas State University. Data from the 2017 Rural Education at a Glance published by the United States Department of Agriculture has clearly outlined that the rural-urban gap in college completion is growing. The study says that between 2000 and 2015, the share of urban adults with at least a bachelor's degree grew from 26% to 33%, while in rural areas, the share grew from 15% to 19%. Therefore, the urban-rural gap in the share of adults with a bachelor's degree grew from 11 to 14%. This number is important to me because, as many as you know, I come from a rural region of Kansas. I was privileged to grow up in a home where education was valued, with a mom and a dad who had a college education, one of them being an educator herself. But that is not the norm for my region of Kansas and for many rural regions across the country. Many students in rural regions of our state and country grow up in homes where neither of their parents have any education beyond a high school diploma or equivalent. Many of the students I went to high school with were the first people in their family to graduate high school, and then proceed to college. Many of those amazing people were also first-generation Americans. Today I stand before you representing the many students who fall into the category of rural. I've spent countless hours questioning whether this is all worth it. Worth it to start a committee focused on defining and retaining rural students? Is it worth it to spend time and countless hours defending the personal experience of not only myself, but other students that I get the privilege of interacting with and representing every single day here at K-State? This committee is solely focused on starting a conversation about what our university is going to do with a set of students who feel ignored. Ask yourself, when was the last time our body had a serious discussion about students from rural America? Consider it and think deeply. We have not since I have been here, and I would also ask you to put yourself in the shoes I was in and so many have been in before. You graduate from one of America's smallest counties and one of the least populated regions of our country, and then set foot on a campus with 22,000 people. I've met many students like this, and I recognize the privileges of my life that prepared me to get to this point. I had a strong support system to keep me here at K-State, but unfortunately, not many students have this. The common story for students like myself is that we start here, drop out, and then return home with no form of higher education. This trend contributes to the growing economic divide between rural and urban regions of our country. This, among many issues, is why I believe we can tackle this here at Kansas State. As a land grant, our first and foremost mission is to serve the state and to ensure that we are providing education for all. This committee will outline what a rural student is, how our university can define them, and identify what resources we have currently available on our campus to help those students and complete their education and remain a productive citizen either here in the state of Kansas, across the country, around the world, and contribute to their respective economies. To conclude today, we have the chance to start groundwork on an issue unheard of and much of the time unrecognized across colleges across the country. The United States Department of Agriculture has affirmed that when students from rural regions receive some form of higher education, that they contribute to their communities, and that they are more likely to return
and leave an impact on those communities. So why not today, here at K-State, we start the conversation on what we are going to do to ensure students from rural regions of our state and nation start and complete their education right here. Because as many of you know, here at K-State, we don't back down from the big challenges. We wake up every day with the opportunity to face them head on and complete them. Tonight, let's start a journey, spark a conversation, and leave an impact, and pass this bill to begin the process of starting the special committee on rural student success. With that, I yield my time.
All right, are there any questions for the speaker? Seeing none, is there any debate in the negative? Any debate in the positive? Debate in the negative? Any debate at all? Okay, we'll now proceed to a roll call vote.
And before we get started, last week there were some proxies assigned, but those people didn't vote. So just so the room knows, I just want to clarify, if you were designated as someone's proxy tonight, that means that you're voting on their behalf because they are not here. So if it gets to that person's name, you'll just say the vote that they would pick, and you'll say by proxy. So you would say yes by proxy or no by proxy. So just wanted to make sure everyone knew that. So we'll get started with Al Abdullah. I think that's Hamlin, his proxy?
Yes.
So yes by proxy?
Yes, by proxy.
Gotcha. Okay. Al-Madani,
Yes.
Beasley,
Yes.
Belina,
Yes.
Betancourt,
Yes.
Bond,
Yes by proxy.
Booz,
Yes.
Bowers,
Yes by proxy.
Boykin,
Yes, by proxy.
Brents,
Yes.
Burke,
Yes.
Carlson,
Yes.
Carr,
Yes.
Clark, Clements,
Yes, by proxy.
Coggeshall,
Yes.
Colisico, Cruz,
Yes.
Dowd, Gallardo,
Yes.
Gilliland King,
Yes.
Gillespie,
Yes.
Glasscock,
Yes.
Hamlin,
Yes.
Hines,
Yes.
Huffman,
Yes.
Jabin,
Yes.
Kelly,
No.
Kerperin,
Yes.
Kidd,
Yes.
King,
Yes.
Koger,
Yes.
Cruiswile,
Here, yes.
Coleman,
Yes.
Lux,
Yes.
Matos,
Yes, by proxy.
Meinhardt,
Yes.
Oxner, Orzakowski,
Yes.
Pelton,
Yes.
Payton,
Yes.
Phillips,
Yes.
Prus,
Yes.
Rivera,
No.
Rodriguez,
Yes.
Reichert,
Yes.
Slichter,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Snyder Ben,
No.
Snyder Blaine,
Yes.
Spellman,
Yes.
Wallace,
Yes.
Ward,
Yes.
Watkins,
Yes.
Whitmer,
Aye.
Yokely, Zimmerman,
Yes.
and then back around to Clark.
No.
Okay. Bill passes 45-4.
All right, we'll now move into final action on Bill 6. Will the author come forward? Have any changes been made?
No.
Right, first right to debate.
So this bill tonight that I'm asking you all to vote on is amendments to the Student Senate standing rules. So we're actually amending the rules that we kind of all follow here as a body. And there were a lot of like minor changes that were made just for like clarification in regards to committee names and things like that that just haven't been updated in years. But the biggest change you'll find is from line 69 to 94 on the bill. So we actually did not have the ability, like written in any of our rules, the process for electing speaker or speaker pro tempore. And I definitely think that that's a glaring oversight that we should definitely have in our rules. So I wrote that all in there to have, for people to have. But then also you'll notice the one substantive change that I felt really passionate about was that I added a provision that candidates for all positions elected by Student Senate should not be allowed to distribute physical campaign materials. So in years past, the speaker and speaker pro tempore have gone around the room, handed out flyers and brochures. I know both Hannah and myself did that when we were running for the position. But frankly, that's like expensive to be able to buy like flyers and brochures. I personally spent $67 on the flyers that I got at FedEx. And I think that's really unfair and serves as like an economic barrier to serving in a leadership position. So I added this provision. It was met with like really positively in the Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Committee this past week, as well as in the Senate Operations Committee. So I really hope that you all vote yes on it, just because I think it's really important that we make not only SGA accessible, but also SGA leadership positions accessible. With that, I'll stand for any questions that the body may have of me.
Are there any questions for a speaker? Senator Beasley.
I don't know if changes have been made, but had changes been made by either committee, how would that have turned out?
So that's a good question. So according to our bylaws, we can refer things to multiple committees, but we don't really know what we do if they like had amended them in committee, but neither committee did, so it doesn't matter.
Senate would choose, we looked into the answer to that, so Senate would choose to adopt one or the other, so we would vote, basically. Any further questions? All right, seeing none, any debate in the negative? Any debate in the positive? Debate in the negative? Any debate at all? All right, seeing none, we'll move into a roll call vote on Bill 6.
Okay, Al Abdullah. Hamlin. Al Abdullah.
Yes, by proxy.
Al Madani.
Yes.
Beasley.
Yes.
Belina.
Yes.
Betancourt.
Yes.
Bond.
Yes, by proxy.
Booz.
Yes.
Bowers.
Yes, by proxy.
Boykin.
Yes, by proxy.
Brents.
Yes.
Burke.
Yes.
Carlson.
Yes.
Carr.
Yes.
Clark.
No.
Clements.
Yes, by proxy.
Coggeshall.
Yes.
Colisico. Cruz.
Yes.
Dowd.
Yes.
Gallardo.
Yes.
Gilliland King.
Yes.
Gillespie.
Yes.
Glasscock.
Yes.
Hamlin.
Yes.
Hines.
Yes.
Huffman.
Yes.
Jabin.
Yes.
Kelly.
Yes.
Kerperin. Kidd.
Yes.
King.
Yes.
Koger.
Yes.
Cruiswile.
Yes.
Coleman.
Yes.
Lux.
Yes.
Matos.
Yes, by proxy.
Meinhardt.
Yes.
Oxner.
Yes.
Orzakowski.
Yes.
Pelton.
Yes.
Payton.
Yes.
Phillips.
Yes.
Bruce.
Yes.
Rivera.
Yes.
Rodriguez.
Yes.
Reichert.
Yep.
Slichter.
Yes.
Smith.
Yes.
Snyder Ben.
Yes.
Snyder Blaine.
Yes.
Spellman.
Yes.
Wallace.
Yes.
Ward.
Yes.
Watkins.
Yes.
Whitmer. Yokely. And Zimmerman.
Yes.
Bill passes 48-1.
Right, we'll now move into introduction of minor allocations. Is there a motion to consider the minor allocations? Senator King.
Move to consider the minor allocation.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to consider the minor allocations. Bill 7, the Agricultural Education Club requested $800, recommended $800. Bill 8, travel allocation to College of Agriculture ambassadors requested $800, recommended $800. And Bill 9, travel allocation to Student Planning Association requested $100, recommended $100. Are there any questions on those? All right, moving into introduction of legislation, is there a motion to consider Bill 10? Senator Coker.
I move that we consider Bill 10.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to consider Bill 10. Will the author come forward? Senator Kelly.
I move the authors of Bills 10 through 14 be allowed to summarize.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to allow the authors of Bills 10 through 14 to be allowed to summarize. Are there any objections? Seeing none, you may summarize.
Thank you, Senator Kelly, for allowing me to summarize. Because this is an amendment. All right. Bill 19-2010 is amendments to the Constitution concerning constitutional revisions. And so I'm going to kind of paraphrase the whereas clauses and then go more specifically through the actual bill and let you know what has been changed, especially because the current software we're using to create the agenda apparently strips out the strike-throughs, so you don't know what I intended to be deleted. So really, what this bill is addressing, or what this amendment is addressing, is the constitutional revision process. And if you don't know, we actually have two ways to ratify a constitutional revision. One is to have it approved by 2/3 of the college councils, and the other one, which hasn't been done in a while as far as I know, is to have an election in which 1/3 of the student body has to vote and 2/3 of the people voting shall agree with this. So this bill has nothing to do with that method of ratifying the Constitution. It only changes the method A, which is 2/3 of the college councils. Now, under our current method of ratifying our constitutional amendments, if a college council doesn't ratify the amendment, then it goes to the college caucus and student senate to ratify it within a specified time period. And then if the college caucus doesn't vote on it during the specified time period, and these are both not voting on it, not declining it, by the way. If neither of them vote on it during their specified time periods, it automatically goes into effect. And so this means that it fails. If no one votes on it except for Student Senate, it would automatically pass. And I don't believe that that's what we want for our governing documents to reflect the will of the student body. I think we do need multiple steps. And so this bill's goal is to make it so that if no one votes on it other than one vote of Student Senate, then it fails. So that's what the goal is. Now, to the actual bill, Article 10 of Kansas State University Student Governing Association Constitution is amended, and it's really Article 10, Part A. So it strikes 6 of the 9 and then adds 2/3 of the college and school councils, and then strikes that represent each college. It adds the college councils must be notified of them within one regularly scheduled student senate meeting. And then it uppercases student senate and then removes the mandated role of the secretary of the student senate in notifying those college councils. And then the caucus says that, and now the caucus has to vote on the ratification within 2 scheduled Senate meetings, and this instead of just being able to. And the caucus, it also codifies in the Constitution a 2/3 requirement for the caucus, not the college council, to approve a constitution for it to be ratified. This was previously in the bylaws, and I do intend to remove it from the bylaws once this bill passes, and I get my bylaws bill completely written. And then it also adds that it shall be considered a vote against the amendment if neither the caucus nor the college council votes on the amendment. It also strikes some things related to it strikes it will be counted as a vote against the favor of the amendments section. And then finally separates one sentence, the sentence at the very end, into 2 separate sentences. So that's kind of confusing. If anyone has any questions, let me know, and I'll be happy to answer them, and I yield the rest of my time.
Are there any questions for the author? Senator Hines.
How often does this situation present itself in which neither the college council or the caucus votes?
That has happened, I'm not precisely sure. However, we have had problems with contacting many college caucuses for quite a while. And so it's quite possible, especially since we haven't been voting in Senate before the last college caucus time, for the caucuses to ratify. So it's actually quite possible that this has happened in the past couple of years.
Further questions for the author? Senator Carlson.
Does the college caucus have to have full attendance of the membership to be able to vote for this 2/3 majority? Does everyone have to be there?
Not currently in the bill.
Any further questions for the author? Chair Watkins.
Have you accounted for the fact that there's some college councils that don't meet ever, like arts and science personally?
Yeah, I mean, so the accounting for that would be basically that the college caucus can ratify in their place. And we'd love for arts and sciences and other college councils to get back up and running, and so we can use the process as intended. But really, the stopgap is voting a second time in different groups in Student Senate.
Any further questions for the author? All right, seeing none, is there a motion to consider Bill 11? Senator Coleman.
I move that we consider Bill 11. Second.
It's been moved and seconded to consider Bill 11. Will the author come forward?
All right. So Tau Beta Sigma is holding a concert in January, and they want to have the Boston Brass come, and so this will be funding their expenses for that event.
Okay, are there any questions for the author? Senator Beasley?
It says that you recommended 2,500, is that correct?
Yes.
Was there a reason that you recommended that amount compared to what was necessarily asked?
Tau Beta Sigma definitely is on top of their fundraising, and we just debated that was a reasonable amount. Yeah.
Are there any further questions for the author? All right, seeing none, is there a motion to consider Bill 12? Senator Hamlin?
I motion we consider Bill 12. Second.
It's been moved and seconded to consider Bill 12.
So this is for On the Spot Improv, which is our improv club on campus, and they're holding an event, Dell Fest, which historically they've held annually, but last year they weren't able to do it because of organizational issues. But this year they requested $5,000, and we recommended $2,000 for them to hold their event. And this goes to the costs associated with bringing in professionals to the event that's being held here in the Union. And that is here in October, so we're trying to get the ball rolling on that. Please vote yes.
Next week. All right, any questions? Right, seeing none, is there a motion to consider Bill 13? Senator Oxner.
I move we consider Bill 13.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to consider Bill 13. Will the author come forward?
All right, so this is a travel location to ASHRAE, which is the American Society of Heating, Refrigeration, Air Conditioning Engineers. So that's why we shortened it. So they'll be sending 20 students to their winter conference, and basically from there they'll learn about new technologies, get to meet with people from their industry, and it'll basically be a big group of people going and learning about what they're going to do in the future. So we funded them $1,000.
Okay, are there any questions for the author? All right, seeing none, is there a motion to consider Bill 14? Senator Coker.
I move that we consider Bill 14. Second.
It's been moved and seconded to consider Bill 14.
Cool. So this is a travel location to the student chapter of the American Society of Landscape Architects. They'll be sending 27 students, so it's mainly their 3rd and 4th years in landscape architecture to this conference so that they can learn about different areas of research and kind of figure out what their research projects are going to be. They also get to learn about new technologies and so all of that. So yeah, so we funded them $1,000.
Right, are there any questions for the author? All right, seeing none, we'll now move into second open period. Are there any second open period speakers? Senator Oxner.
Oh, yeah. All right, so now that we've gotten the chance to have a lot of discussions about the Special Committee on Rural Student Success, if you have any further questions about that, moving forward, going on, we're looking forward to starting that work very soon. Do not be afraid to reach out to me. Don't be afraid to get in contact with me. We're going to have many good discussions about that moving forward. I look forward to getting a lot of work done on it, so just let me know.
Right, are there any questions for Noah? Right. Any further second open period speakers? Coordinator Colburn.
This is pretty informal. We already sent out a link in the email about the intern mentor form and about that program. So if you haven't filled it out yet, one, no rush. Interns won't be assigned a mentor for another 3 weeks, and they won't really know who they are for another 4. So it's not like you're at the end of the world. But the sooner that you get it done, the better it is for us. So if you can get that done in the next week, that's great. If you didn't get that form, let us know. All 3 branches should have gotten it. If you have any questions about what being a mentor involves, let us know.
Yeah, and like based off of the numbers we have right now for like people who have applied to be mentors and like potential intern mentees, we only have half the people we need. So like anybody here is qualified. Like all you have to do is like give them your time and attention and help them have SGA be a fruitful experience to them. Like everybody here is more than qualified, so please give it a shot and fill out the form.
I also remind interns of this in our, like, at least I have mentioned it. This is unrelated to the mentor process, but you are supposed to have your phones down and your laptops closed during open period, and there are a lot of people who were on social media and doing homework. That first, like, 30 minutes should be focused on them. So if interns can do it, so can we. So, yeah, that's all. Any questions?
Any questions? Caucus Leader Glasscock.
If you get more applicants and have interns, what happens?
There's 3 classes worth of interns, so we will have more than just this first initial group that's looking to be about 30, maybe 35. So there will be more throughout. So if you don't get one this round, you can get another intern later, or if you really want to fight someone, you can double up.
Right, any other questions for the intern coordinators? Right, seeing none, are there any further second open period speakers? Senator Clark.
I'm just gonna stand back here. I don't have much to say. As many of you know, I wrote an article. It was a great article. But I wrote it so I could have conversations with people. That's what I want to do. Please come talk to me. That's why I wrote it. You know, I agree with my article, obviously. But if you want to come talk to me, that's why I wrote it. I want you people to come and talk to me, all of you. So if you don't like it, if you like it, come talk to me. I'm down.
What was the art?
Okay, so
Let me go to the right.
I'm sure most of the people relatively know. It was an article in the Collegian. It was called "Not My Choice." I didn't choose the title. Multicultural Student Center is a step backwards now. Oh, I did see that. So, yeah. See, you knew. Okay, I'm Bailey.
All right.
Some people not know that.
Are there any questions for Senator Clark? Senator Beasley.
Will it be a good faith conversation?
It will be a good faith conversation. That's why I want to talk to people.
Any further questions for Senator Clark? Yeah. Yes.
So my question is, why didn't you agree with the title?
Well, I thought the title might have been a little more inflammatory than it needed to be. I didn't choose the title.
Any further questions?
Kind of different must be right to
What exactly about the name makes it not unified? It says multicultural. Like how more unified can it not be?
Well,
it says multicultural student center, meaning all cultures are accepted. If like the multicultural student organization room in the union, all coaches are accepted.
Okay, I'm so sorry. We can't ask questions that are debate-like nature.
Please come talk to me, I'm more than happy to.
Right, are there any further questions? Right, any further second open period speakers? Caucus Leader Kidd.
Thank you. Hey, guys. Gone, been working through some health things and just some other stuff, but I'll be back, excited for a great fall semester. Definitely miss you all, hope you guys miss me. But I just wanted to say that for the grad school caucus, we'll be meeting over here in our grad school corner after the meeting. So if you're not in the grad school caucus but want to come over to our corner, you definitely can. We can chat it up, but we just have some quick things just to run down. So have a great semester, love you all, and go Cats.
All right, any further open period speakers? All right, I will just say one thing. If you are a new student senator as of this fall semester, or you are one of our 6 committee chairs, can you please come to the front of the room following adjournment of this meeting? Thanks in advance. Okay, we'll now move into reference of legislation. Bill 10 will be referred to Senate Ops. Bill 11 and 12 to on-campus allocations, and 13 and 14 to travel allocations. We'll now move into second roll call.
Almadani.
Here.
Beasley.
Here.
Belina.
Here.
Betancourt. Booz.
Here.
Brents.
Here.
Burke.
Here.
Carlson.
Here.
Carr.
Here.
Clark.
Yep.
Coggeshall.
Here.
Colisico. Cruz.
Here.
Dowd.
Here.
Gallardo.
Here.
Gilliland King.
Here.
Gillespie.
Here.
Glasscock.
Here.
Hamlin.
Here.
Hines.
Here.
Huffman.
Here.
Javin.
Here.
Kelly. Kerperin.
Here.
Kidd.
Here.
King.
Here.
Koger.
Here.
Cruiswell.
Here.
Coleman.
Here.
Lux.
Here.
Meinhardt.
Here.
Oxner.
Here.
Orzakowski.
Here.
Pelton.
Here.
Peyton.
Here.
Phillips.
Here.
Bruce.
Here.
Rivera.
Here.
Rodriguez.
Here.
Reichert.
Here.
Slichter.
Here.
Smith.
Here.
Snyder Ben.
Here.
Snyder Blaine.
Here.
Spellman.
Here.
Wallace.
Here.
Ward.
Here.
Watkins.
Here.
Whitmer.
Here.
Yokely. And Zimmerman.
Here.
48 senators present.
All right, with that, is there a motion to adjourn this meeting? Senator Koger?
I move that we adjourn this meeting until next Thursday at 7 p.m. in Wildcat Chamber.
It's been moved and seconded to adjourn until next Thursday in Wildcat Chamber at 7 p.m.